Hey folks, we are back in VR. I'm back in the trusty TBM. I thought I'd just do a little video here because there's been so much going on in the world of flight simulation.
1000 Zulu weather. Wind 270
that I thought I would, I don't know, just do a bit of a fly-in chat basically of how I feel about some of this news, shall we say. I'm putting it very lightly, but maybe I should say it's a hammer blow, because that's the only way I can describe, with what I know you know I'm talking about, the Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. Their ethos and attitude towards this new release is nothing short of just spectacular and extremely exciting. It looks very, very special indeed. And when I saw that ream of footage that they released, which I'm very impressed with that in itself, that they just released about, what was it? About 30 minutes worth of raw 4K footage. I mean, that is a lot, and it was uncensored and unpolished, I suppose. It was completely raw footage, and I think it's taken the flight sim community by storm. It's completely changed everything. I don't remember a time where, for a very long time anyway, probably, I don't know, probably the biggest advancement previously would have been Autogen itself in FS2002, or the dynamic weather of Flight Unlimited 3, you know. But even that just does not touch what we did see on that Monday. Oh, looks like the weather's changed and we've got some beautiful rain effects here. Can't complain. Love these effects, they're just incredible. We're actually at East Midlands Airport, Stutterfest that it is. But yeah, I was going to buy Leeds Bradford until I realised it was the same team, in-house team, that made this airport. So I'm going to give that a miss, simply because it's just not very well optimised at all. But anyway, we'll continue with the flight, because what we're going to be doing is we're going to be heading down to, or up rather, to Scotland, because I still need to finish my Scotland tour that I started ages ago. I haven't even done much of it since then. My Marchetti SF260 is currently in a hangar in the Western Isles, and it's been there for about 3 months or more, so my hangar fees are going to be pretty astronomical, to say the least. But I've been so busy with Innsbruck scenery and the Europe tour that I did, and just, you know, generally trying to find the time is, as I've said before, flight simming is a full-time job. It really is. Right, we've got our flight plan in here somewhere, so we'll just go and find that. There it is. And we are, yep, that's the one, because we're going to be going to Glasgow first of all today. Okay, so we'll need to add in our departure, which is TNT2N. So load that up, and that's runway 27. Brilliant. And we'll load in our arrival, if I can remember it. I think it is a Liber 2A, I think it is. Okay, that's in. Right, we just need to get the ATIS, which I think I might have already set that up from before.
East Midlands information.
Yeah, here we go.
7. Advise on initial contact. You have Lima.
And we have Lima. Great stuff. So what do I think? I mean, well, about this new flight sim. I think, as I say, it's completely revolutionary, if I can talk. I have wondered for some time whether they would ever implement Bing Maps or Google Maps with the 3D imagery, because when anyone who's got VR, they've probably tried it, the Google Earth thing. Well, I've always wondered how difficult would it be to implement that in a simulator. And I'm sure the technology has always been coming. It's just a case of when and how, I suppose. And I don't know, things like the licensing fees or all the red tape you'd have to get through. Well, I mean, it's Microsoft, isn't it? So if anybody knows how to get past all of that, it's Microsoft, without a doubt. But it's not all roses, I suppose, because there is one issue that I have. Well, one not issue, but one concern I have, and that is, and it's a quite strange problem to have, I suppose, but because this new flight simulator from Microsoft looks so damn good, not just graphically, but in terms of their flight model, their approach, everything about it, it might actually render everything else obsolete. It might be a mass adoption type thing where there's just nothing out there that's going to even touch it. Now, one caveat, I suppose, is that it's not going to have VR out the crate. So it's not going to come with VR. And, well, I think you guys all know who's watched my videos before, and, that VR is the way forward. I mean, really, I can't imagine not flying in VR anymore. So that is a must, and I really hope that message has been driven home by the likes of the VR Facebook group I'm with, like Drew, that's Belgio. He great advocate of VR, like many of us are, and I think we really need to push it as much as possible, because when it's released, whenever that will be, there's absolutely no question I will be buying it. I think, like every other simmer on the planet, I think it's just going to be that mass adoption. We want it now. I think ever since that video, and I'm sure people who even actually had the opportunity to fly it, very lucky to have been actually had the opportunity to test it hands-on, they must have gone home and loaded up their favourite flight sim, whether it's Prepared, FSX, X-Plane, whatever, and just felt depressed, because it's just a massive leap. It's a huge leap. But it does make me worry with this possible mass adoption that it might make the likes of X-Plane in some serious trouble. I would love to be a fly on the wall in the Laminar office. Just what must they be thinking right now? Did they have any inkling, any idea this was going to happen? Is this why Austin favoured the flight model updates recently rather than the Vulcan stuff? But I suppose it's not really ready yet anyway. We're going to assume it's clear. That's one thing I really miss about Prepared and FSX is the AI traffic. Flaps up, flaps down even. We haven't even bothered with our... Oh yeah, we can do that now. Strobes and landing lights. I'm just getting very sidetracked and get very excited just thinking about it. I must have watched the footage half a dozen times now. I mean, it all depends. I mean, the thing is, that's it, isn't it? It's not going to be one of those flight simulators that, if you like eye candy, then this is the one for you. Or if you like, weather, or if you like whatever. It's got everything in it from the get-go. One of the comments of when they was being interviewed, the developers, they said about this is for us. This is for us first. The way they were talking, I've never heard Microsoft talk about flight model in such detail like that ever. That's usually Austin's, bag, I suppose. That's Austin's expertise. So to be talking so in depth about all of that stuff, as well as the dynamic weather, and then by the way, it looks absolutely like real life. I'm excited, but I'm a little bit concerned at the same time. Right, anyway. Right, all of those are in place. We're going to take off and see what happens, basically, from East Midlands Airport. Right, I think we're ready. Let's go. Just look at the way those rain effects are affected by the prop. The ironic thing is, I'm sure, things like the rain effects from X-Plane with the likes of Hotstar, all these things have influenced them. They've been listening. They've been taking note. It shows. Oh, it definitely shows. Okay, here we go. Let's concentrate on this takeoff now then. Okay, positive rate of climb and gear up. Let's have one sneaky look outside at that amazing view there. East Midlands Airport. Very, very nice. Of course, that's another thing as well. I mean, like, do we continue to buy add-ons when you've got something like this on the horizon that gives payware quality sort of scenery just out the box, you know? Because of its design, because of its clever procedural generation. Right, autopilot on. Yeah, guys, honestly, I've never known a time like it. You know, I used to rave on quite a lot this whole year and last year about how amazed I am at where we are at now and the developments in flight simulation, but it's just not letting up. And now with this recent huge announcement, it's completely turned the whole flight simulation, genre on its head. Now, I think more than anything else, even more than the incredible terrain and detail and zoom level, which really, really, truly excites me. I cannot wait to get my grubby hands on it, and the first thing I'm going to do is just do a world tour, and it'll probably last me a whole year, and if I have to get a curved monitor and enjoy it that way, I will, but I certainly won't be ditching X-Plane basically for its VR support, really. But what excites me the most is the dynamic weather. We have not had a flight simulator for years and years and years to really, really interpret and simulate the weather, which I find quite staggering, really. That, flying, like so much of the aspect of flying in real life, you are completely obsessed with the weather, because the weather is the thing that's going to cause you problems. It's going to either make or break a flight. That feeling, I've flown quite a lot, and I'm sure you guys have as well, in little Cessnas and goodness knows what, and that feeling of vulnerability when you're in a constantly moving, atmosphere of air, a column of air. You really feel like you're floating and you're vulnerable, and if there is some bad weather, or you've got to really pay attention to it. And the idea of, looking out there and seeing a huge sal, of rain, and be able to go in and out of it, or even just stay at an airport, do some touch and goes, and see it gradually come in and out. Like, that's a perfect example right there of how at the moment the weather has to refresh every so often, and it's completely immersion breaking. It really is. It's just, it ruins it. But even I'm using Active Sky, which is absolutely superb. Active Sky, in my opinion, is a weather simulator inside of another simulator. It's superb. It, in terms of its physics, it's very, very, very good. Very, very complex. It's not about the visuals, as you can see here. I'm actually using, by the way, I'm not using Ultimate Weather XP anymore, because there's too many problems with it at the moment. Namely, the main two are that, getting a few stutters here, the main two issues with it is the rain effects on the windshield don't work anymore with ultimate weather. You only see it out the left eye, which is just annoying. But probably worse than that is that the cloud base, it never reports the correct cloud base, and it's often clipping with the ground, and you have to move that slider every 5 minutes. Then you think, well, am I getting the right conditions? It's just a bit of a faff that I can do without, really. So I've gone back to just using active sky clouds, which they probably look a bit crap on the monitor, but they look pretty good. But I say that whilst in my head right now I'm looking at the sky in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, and it does make you feel a bit depressed that we can't grab our hand, have our hands on it now. But I was quite positive about it. I think subscription or no subscription, I think you've got to think about what you are actually getting, what kind of quality you're getting. I think we do seem to ask for a lot these days, and you think about in the past what we've coped with and thought was amazing. I mean, the way things are going, even me doing this right now, is amazing, but in another year's time, it's going to seem really, really ancient and old, and I'll probably need to buy another computer. But it's a hobby. It is a hobby at the end of the day. It's not like we're Xbox gamers, and that's what they drove home more than anything else. They're not interested primarily in the Xbox gamer, so to speak. It's more about the hardcore flight simulator community, the people who are really interested, whether it's pilots, people that want to train, or people who are kind of in between that stage and just want to enjoy flying, but very, very realistically. Right, so we're coming up now at our cruise altitude, 15,000 feet. All is good in the TBM. I think that's one thing I'll be staying away from the TBM in the FS2020. I mean, I probably will try it, but I mean, because I'm so used to the hot start version, again, this aircraft is a simulation inside a simulation of weather, inside a simulation of flight, if that makes sense. It's just so complex, and I'm not expecting it to be anywhere near this kind of level of quality, and that's why I'll still be, I'll be keeping X-Plane for a long time yet. Oh yes, definitely. And I think this idea some people have of having one sim or the other, well, look, they're all out there for us to enjoy at the end of the day, so use them all, But here, right now, flying over True Earth, Great Britain, in this amazing aircraft, in VR, why would I want to get rid of this experience, regardless of what is coming next? So in other news, there are some new hardware-related announcements that have been made, particularly VR. Once again, the Cosmos, or however you want to call it, has been released. HTC new VR headset, and quite honestly, it's rubbish. I have no idea why it's so expensive. Looking at some early reviews, the controllers are basically the Rift S controllers but worse. They take 2 batteries instead of 1, and they only last 2 hours. Now, yesterday I flew the Challenger from Innsbruck to East Midlands, and that was about 2.5 hours. So basically, that one session, I would have to change all the batteries in the controllers once. That is just completely ridiculous and unacceptable. That's worse than the HP Reverb ones, and I think they last about 8 hours or so, something like that, which I also consider very, very, very below par. Considering the Rift S controllers, they last probably a week, 2 weeks at a time on one battery. There's absolutely no comparison. And then of course there's a lot of issues as well with tracking, apparently, because at the moment I don't have my light on. I've just got some natural light showing, and I've even got my curtains closed, and my tracking's still completely fine. I've heard that the Cosmos is or Cosmos, depending on how you want to call it. Tracking is horrendous unless it's really bright. I just think things like that are completely unacceptable. It's what is it, $700 or something? No, thank you very much. I think I'll leave that one. And the optics aren't any better really than the Rift S, to be honest. It might be slightly better in terms of resolution, but very, very slight. Not really worth it. And of course the HP Reverb has now been relaunched with the new clip on the lead. And quite honestly, I nearly bought one a week ago. Funny enough, right before the new announcement of the new Flight Sim. Because of that, and the fact that I do love the Rift S so much, I'm looking at here now, and it's such a crystal clear image. You don't get any Mura, which you do still get with the Reverb, which does, people say it's not noticeable, but it might not be noticeable in a VR game, but when you are flying sort of above the clouds and it can be quite washed out colours, that's when you really, really notice that Mura. And funny enough, in Flight Simulator we spend most of the time in the sky, so that is a bit of a problem. But hey, you never know, I might just suddenly decide to get one yet, but probably it's unlikely to happen. I guess my only really proper major concern is if it is a mass adoption and we end up inadvertently killing X-Plane, what happens if Microsoft does the same thing it did back in the Aces Studios days, where it just went, no, sorry, it's not profitable anymore, goodbye. We're going to be left with nothing. And they can basically close down the servers, and all of that beautiful streaming data has now gone. So this is why I suppose as I'm thinking about it, probably urge everyone to still support X-Plane as much as possible. The great thing about this is I can fly this offline whenever I want to over this scenery. I can download my own author if I want to, and it's there all the time. I'm not streaming it off someone else's server. I'm not relying on anybody else but my own computer. To know that it's very cloudy and murky in the UK today. Beautiful day yesterday though. Got out on the bike, did about 300 miles around Derbyshire. Fantastic. It was a little chilly though, wasn't it? Yes, it was. Yes, my partner, she wasn't so impressed as I decided to go up one of the passes and it was about 10 degrees, but you had your heated seat on, didn't you? So it wasn't too bad. E, G, E, F. We'll see where we are as well on the map. But yeah, really, really, really exciting time. The fact that they've included all of the major, I suppose, players, add-on developers like Orbex, like, well, I say that, I'm presuming others like A2A perhaps, maybe Active Sky, I don't know. I mean, Microsoft Flight was just abysmal. It was terrible. It was a closed platform where it was just pretty much microtransactions, really, and content that either they've made themselves or perhaps, got some sort of deal with another publisher. But this looks like it's going to be not so much open source, but basically the same simulator we know and love, that being FSX, in terms of people be able to plow in their amazing add-ons and aircraft. They want that because they know, they're not stupid, they know that is a huge part of its longevity. It's not like they're going to basically churn this out and then that's it, you know, because you know the future content is what will make it. I mean, just look at how amazing that sim is. Just go back, watch it again and again and again. Look how incredible it already looks. What is it going to be like in, say, another year from the point of release, when there's add-on developers? Oh my goodness me, it's just going to be so incredible. In some ways, maybe I should be thankful it doesn't have VR when it on day one, because I probably would never see my friends or family ever again for at least for a couple of months. Anyway, guys, I'm going to continue with this flight, and I will join you on approach to Glasgow, or maybe even at top of descent. So I'll see you guys shortly. Anyone who's still wondering, who is on the fence of what VR headset to go and get if they've got a CV1, well, I think it's a pretty clear winner for me, especially now HTC have shown their hand and it's pretty dismal, to be honest. It's either the Reverb or the Rift S. I think if I had to choose, it would definitely be the Rift S, and that's why I actually have one right now on my head. The Reverb, I don't know, I might possibly get it after Vulkan has been implemented, because it just needs that extra bit of horsepower to run it, and that's not really due to the headset and its resolution. It's mainly due to its projection. It needs to be smooth. And as I've said many times before, I'm at sort of 25, 26, 20 frames, so low that is, but it's perfectly smooth to me because of the projection system. That's really important. And yeah, I can see a few pixels there when I look out. You don't see that in the Reverb. What you do see is a Miura, and the lenses in this thing are just so good. It's Oculus, they know what they're doing. Not to say HP doesn't, but I just think Oculus does have that edge, and they seem to be taking their time a bit more in implementing new technology. So we'll be getting that call in a minute from the system that we need to be heading down. As you can see there, that magenta line there.
Glasgow information Oscar. 1100 Zulu.
Oh, it just looks so good out there, guys. Still amazing. It's still stunning, and it will be for a long time yet.
Sky conditions 2,400 broken, 5,400 broken, 27,000.
Absolutely gorgeous. Wow. If only they were volumetric. Still feels like I'm going through them though. Wow, that's pretty amazing. VR, as I say, it's just very convincing. If I could recommend any piece of scenery add-on airport, it's the Innsbruck Orbex scenery, because the guy who developed that, he's a genius. There's no other way of putting it. I mean, that scenery works perfectly fine, so smooth, really, really just spectacular. No stutters, no issues, just fantastic. And they've got a discount going on at the moment, so I'd recommend picking that up if you haven't already. I've been flying around there for weeks and weeks, But I need to get back to the UK as I'm doing now, because I do want to finish my UK North tour, which I still haven't done that yet, before I head off into the USA. So that's my sort of plan. Okay, we're heading up to Glasgow now, not too far away. Okay, so we are heading into this cloud now, and to help slow us down, we're going to put the inertial separator on. Put our landing light on, ready. Here comes that rain. That's a lot of rain. Maybe we should put a bit of de-ice on for the time being while we go through this cloud. I tell you what, guys, it's worth getting this aircraft in VR just for the rain effects alone. And if I have to really nitpick, I think the rain effects on this aircraft look better than the Microsoft one so far. Just have the edge. Oh, hang on, we're going a bit low here. Whoops.
Sync rate.
Concentrate on what I'm doing. What a dismal day it is. See the boots there working as they should. And no ice is forming as far as I can see. Temperature is 7 degrees out there at the moment.
1100 Zulu weather. Wind 020 at 8. Visibility more than 10. Sky conditions 1,300 broken.
1,300.
3,300 broken. 5,300.
Okay, so we should break out by about 1,000 feet then.
Dew point 10. Altimeter 2982.
282.
Arriving runway 05. Departing runway
05 still cool, that's good. We'll arm the approach. Okay, we have captured the glide path. We'll go gear down. And we'll await to break out of this murk. It's always a feeling in VR, particularly, that I love on approaches like this, where you're completely IMC conditions, and when you finally break out and you see the ground, it's just quite a feeling. It really is. We'll put in a degree of flap as well, and just focus upon our airspeed. We're really in the thick of it here. We really are. That's our green dot there that shows that we're on the ILS. We're just starting to slowly descend now, actually, so we'll keep an eye on everything. Oh, here we go. We're going to break out fairly early. Says as we go back into a whiteout again. I mean, imagine doing this in the new flight sim. That's the trouble. Every time you fly now, and I'm sure it's the same for you as well, whenever you're flying, you're always now thinking, what would it be like in the new sim? I'm trying not to think like that, but I can't help it. It's going to be a painful wait. There's no doubt about that, but it's a good thing. Should we put our synthetic vision on? Why not? We have it, we might as well use it. Okay, we've gone back into the cloud again now. Oh, no, we're broken again. Oh, look at that, wow. Fantastic. And really, that's almost like the Microsoft Flight Sim in terms of detail. The only thing it's missing is the zoom level 19, really. If it had that, it'd be almost the same. Now, I'm not going to have control just yet until I can be definitely sure that we are out of the cloud. Now, it looks like we are, but unfortunately, X-Plane, suddenly we might go and have a whiteout again, so we'll just have to wait a few seconds. That looks absolutely incredible. I think we're okay now. I think I'm going to have control of the aircraft. Let's just quickly go outside first. Okay. Just center myself a bit here, and we have control.
500.
Okay, I'll stop rambling and concentrate on this landing. Go. Slight bounce there, but I'll take it. Love how quick this thing slows down, and that's going to be useful for our next leg because we're going to be going to the Western Isles next. Okay, I think we'll exit the runway here. Okay guys, so thanks for coming along on this little trip and this little chat about the recent developments. It's just one hell of a time to be in this hobby, it really is. And goodness knows how many more people we might actually include. You know, because I know the game will be coming to, I just said game didn't I? But I know the flight sim will be coming to Xbox. Which, well, it's coming to PC first, guys, and they are thinking about us first, so don't be too alarmed by that. There needs to be some sort of mass adoption for them to invest such incredible sort of technology into this. There's got to be longevity to it, and if that is the case, we need to, you know, include as many people as possible